Station with Superintendent Curtis Whitesel, brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. And good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm well, Todd. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. And I know it's kind of quiet around the Homer Center hallways today and this week, and you'd rather have it be noisy, but the situation is what it is, and you're dealing with it, aren't you?
Yeah, we had to make a tough call on Friday. Our case numbers were up, approaching 5, and we had several kids quarantined. So we made the decision to close the school for a week, go remote learning, do a complete disinfecting and cleansing of the school, give the kids a chance to actually be apart for about 9 days, and try and get ahead of this COVID virus that seems to be focusing on Homer Center School District right now, at least the high school area.
Well, that being the case, the obvious question is, what's the situation now in terms of your numbers?
Our numbers are coming down. We took 2 more off the dashboard. By Friday, if we have no further cases, we should be clear with no students currently infected. So the goal is to have our dashboard cleared by Friday and students return Monday ready to go after a good week of remote learning.
Sounds like a good plan, and I know you'd be relieved to have that happen. Of course, the ultimate relief would be just getting back to what used to be normal, wouldn't it?
That would be the dream. I mean, just kids being able to socialize in school, that's part of our educational program, is a socialization. Kids enjoying the experience of school, not wearing masks, just going about their day-to-day business, enjoying dances, enjoying activities in clubs and athletics. That's what school's all about for all of us that we got to experience in our younger years, and that's what we hope happens for our current generation.
So aside from what happened on Friday and the decisions that had to be made in that case, how has it gone in the first month of school for Homer Center in terms of keeping up with the plan, making adjustments where necessary, and just making sure everybody's safe?
We've made some slight adjustments to our plan here and there where we saw areas of need, added our physician to our pandemic team to help us make decisions. Some smaller changes like that. School's been going great. The kids have been fantastic, wearing their mask, socially distancing as much as possible. We're trying to keep them distanced as much as possible in the classrooms. We're feeding them in a couple different areas for lunch, a couple different areas of the school so they can be apart. But, you know, kids are resilient. They take what you give them, and they make the best of it, and I can honestly say that our kids are just happy to be back and happy to be in school, and they're willing to follow the guidelines just for that opportunity.
On the elementary level, is that any more difficult than it is on the high school level, since kids aren't as mature and they don't have that sort of a background?
Yeah, there's probably more reminders that, hey, buddy, pull your mask up over your nose, keep your mask up, don't touch things, those types of things. But you know, at a young age, they're impressionable. They learn well, they learn quickly, and for the most part, the kids are, you know, acquiescing to our request and keeping their mask up and trying not to touch the little one in front of them and keeping their hands off the wall and railings and pretty much social distancing as much as we can keep them. We've actually divided our recess area up into 4 or 5 different places, so there's not a large gathering of kids at any given time. They're kind of spread out around the campus. Just to give them more space to move and to roam around and not be on top of one another.
Talking with Kurt Whitesel, the superintendent of the Homer Center Schools, as the students this week switching to all online earning for this week only, we hope, and it sure seems to be that is going to be the indication. Has it been substantially different, the learning model, when you're all online this week as opposed to what you were experiencing last spring?
It has gotten so much better. I mean, we were flying by the seat of our pants last March and April trying to learn the Google platform and the learning styles that we were going to have to present to our kids. Our teachers have taken the reins of our platform that we're using through Google and have actually honed their skills and some have actually become experts in using the platform to present their material, and it's just amazing the growth that our teachers have made. They have dedicated their time, they've dedicated their efforts into learning and perfecting the skills of using Google to help our kids learn. So, I mean, there's always room for improvement, but I would say our teachers are top-notch and where they need to be right now.
I recall talking to you in the summer months when we were talking about technology and making sure everything was up to date and you were getting the technology into the hands of everybody. And what a challenge that was from the IT perspective, just getting the equipment, and you managed to do that, and then getting it programmed and getting everybody on speed with it, and connectivity, of course, always an issue. How's that?
There's still some areas of our school district that lacks connectivity or has very poor connectivity. I know that our representatives are working on that, trying to get more bandwidth across the area and more hotspots. We're still waiting on some computers. You know, when all this happened and the grant money came out, every school district across the Commonwealth did what we did and ordered 250, 300 computers, and nobody was equipped to handle orders of that large that quickly across the state. So we still have a large shipment of computers due to come in any time now. But luckily for us, we still had a substantial supply here that we could give to our high school kids last Friday that needed them. I think we ended up handing out about 135 computers last Friday. The rest of the kids had their own devices at home, so we were able to sufficiently get the technology into the hands, and we're expecting another big order of computers soon, as I said, which will help us even more.
I had a picture of the Black Friday sales when you said that, of all the school districts just piling in and wrestling each other to try to get this computer or that. It turned into quite a scrap all across the Commonwealth, didn't it?
Oh, it did. I tell you, I think our order has been, the receiving dates changed at least 3 times, but I think we did get confirmation last week that they're on their way, and we should see them either by the end of this week or early next week. And it won't take our IT group very long to get those up and running and get everything downloaded on them they need to put on them, and we can get them into the hands of kids. And we were fortunate enough to get all new computers for our teachers. They already came. They're up and running. We have cameras for them, so the teachers are able to remote to their students much more efficiently with a much better computer, a much more powerful computer, so we don't drop calls and we don't drop classes. So we were lucky there to receive that first order of computers a few weeks ago.
We had Matt Joio from Marion Center stop by yesterday and speak with us on the air. He was on his way actually to your school to meet with Jody Rainey. Everybody was wondering about the high school football game between Homer Center and Marion Center that had to be postponed the other day. And so they were at that time getting set to talk, have some discussions about how they could get that football game played. Probably still some things to clear up with that in order to get a game scheduled.
Yeah, I talked to Jody. I talked to Matt yesterday and to Jody last evening. They met for quite a while yesterday, working out some different scenarios to see where we are as the season progresses. There's a big decision coming from District 6 at the meeting on Thursday of how many teams they're going to take for the playoffs for single A and double A. If there's a Week 9 game, if there's a Week 10 game. If there is a Week 10 game, that'll certainly significantly impact the number of teams that qualify for districts. So as we're looking at that scenario after we hear what District 6 does on Thursday, that'll make our decision of when to reschedule the game based on the need for points to get seeding to get into the playoffs. So I think after the decision comes from District 6, whether we stop at Week 9 or stop at Week 10, we'll make a decision when we actually make the game up with Marion Center.
Yeah, and of course, as we all know, if you make a decision on Thursday, everything changes on Friday. That's just the way 2020 is. Exactly.
You know, and I have to applaud Marion Center. I do think they made the correct choice Friday night. It was a lose-lose. If any of their kids got sick by playing that game, then we would have impacted, their season. If any of our kids would have gotten sick from one of their kids and not knowing, that would further impact our season. I know it was disappointing for both schools and both communities, but in hindsight, after we look back at it, it was the right decision that Marion Center made, and I have no problems with that.
Yeah, and of course, you have to realize that if a kid is taking something home with him, and it's something that is contagious, why, that goes to mom, dad, brothers, sisters, and grandmas and grandpas, too.
Oh, yeah, and also back into the schools. If they get it on a Friday night and don't become symptomatic till the next week, how many kids over the weekend and then back at school on Monday were they around where it could be a big outbreak where they would have to shut their school down or we'd have to further shut our school down for a longer period of time. So I think we made a very difficult but correct decision, both as shutting our school down for a week and not playing the football game Friday night.
Yeah, all right. So you move forward from here, expected back in class on Monday, and hopefully things will be getting calmer. I see the rates are down in Indiana County again. And the message is getting through. It's just, sometimes the message can get through to 99 out of 100 people, but that 100th person is going to be the one who causes everything else to shut down.
That's correct. We actually had, as superintendents, had a call with Department of Ed and Department of Health yesterday. Since we were in the substantial category the last couple of weeks, we were having weekly calls to get updates. Our numbers in Indiana County dropped down to 5.9%, which was a blessing to our ears. So we moved back from substantial to moderate. The goal is to get to the low category, and we're working our way there. That's below 5, and we're at 5.9 right now. But I applaud the people of the area and the communities that are taking it seriously, that the people are not congregating and partying in large groups, so we can try and get this under control, because ultimately we need our kids in school. That's the most important part.
I know that we've talked this entire conversation about the COVID-19 and the coronavirus, but one of these days soon you and I are going to have to talk about your testimony before the Senate a couple of weeks ago, a month or so ago, about Reggie and what that does to Indiana County, and maybe in the future we can spend some time on that. I know that's another headache you don't want to deal with, but things of that nature, they pop up and they land on your desk. They're things you have to deal with.
Yeah, we can have that conversation. I mean, that would be a good conversation for another time, but I think everybody in the area knows the monetary impact that would have, at least on the Homer Center School District by itself, if we were to lose that tax base and that tax income. So, we keep our fingers crossed every day that we can keep the power plant running and the smoke coming out of the stacks and keep people working and keep that in place. So we certainly have that conversation down the road.
Very good. Kurt Whitesel, Superintendent at the Homer Center Schools. Quiet at the schools right now, but learning is still going on, and we applaud you and your district for everything you're doing. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Todd. I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Take care. See ya.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, 101.1 FM and AM 1160. 1 FM and AM 1160.